He sought to cover researchers who are hunting for invisible creatures, eating invisible food on the ocean floor, and realized that in order to do the story justice, he had to learn how to scuba dive. To explain what he found and what it's like to report underwater, Raymond joins me now from London. Raymond, it's good to see you on solid ground. First of all, you've been covering climate from the surface for many, many years as a climate reporter. What finally led you and inspired you to not only study it beneath the ocean, but also to scuba dive to do some of your own research and reporting?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. So many of us live near the ocean. So many of us live near coasts, lots of cities on coasts, and yet it's a really easy thing to never think about. Despite being so huge, it's almost huge beyond human comprehension. And so we can sort of look out on it and think it's just sort of there, eternally, unending. And of course, that's not true. If we talk about what humans are doing to the planet, the oceans cover so much of the surface that it's a huge part of, it's feeling the effects. 90% of the extra heat that humans are trapping near Earth's surface ends up in the ocean. The ocean is storing up so much of the heat that we're keeping near the planet. And that's obviously having huge changes down below that we just don't see. And I think part of what I felt like I just have to do in this job is to make people see the natural world, see what's under their nose, see what's all around them. And I think I'd had a couple of opportunities to write about scientists working underwater, scientists who can dive, and I kept thinking, wow, that'd be really cool to go with them. And I think it finally just came to a head with this story, and I said I should do it. And I went and got certified.
And you say you're not a thrill seeker, so was it hard to learn how to scuba dive? What were some of the most challenging aspects of it?
I'd gone snorkeling. I think I'm a pretty good swimmer, and I sort of walked in on my first day of lessons feeling full of confidence. And basically, at 1 inch below the surface, when you sort of are in a pool learning to breathe, I had a little freak out. I think there's a psychological barrier that you have to overcome if you're a human being used to breathing air. To suddenly have to do it into a machine that's sort of, it's a well-designed machine, the technology's great, but you really have to face a sort of a little voice in your brain telling you this is not normal, this is not natural. And I think that's a big part of what scuba teaches you. We are land creatures and we are not meant to live in the ocean, so you have to have a certain humility toward the power of the water.
And you have to allow the machines ultimately to do what they're designed to do. What surprised you the most when you dropped 40 to 50 feet about the ocean or about how you viewed the ocean in your reporting?
I think it's just really, it's a different planet almost. You just come to appreciate, you think you understand what it means for creatures to live on the ocean floor. But until you're there, until you're seeing it up close, I think even frankly pictures don't do it justice. It's just its own world down there. And it really feels like if more people could see it up close, if more people could sort of appreciate, and it's not even just things you can see, it's ocean currents, which we can't see. It's the sort of changes in temperature that are happening invisibly, even when you're down there. You just sort of do appreciate the scale and the immensity of the activity that's happening there.
Yeah, and off the coast of Tuscany, you followed scientists who are hunting microbes that eat methane at mud volcanoes. What did you see down there, and what does that tell you about the health of our planet and specifically our oceans?
Well, I came to this story thinking, well, how do you even collect a microbe underwater? And I think part of it was just to understand what science under the ocean, how it works. The answer to that question is you have a plastic bag that you sort of twirl around in the water, and you imagine that's where microbes are, and then you have to go back in the lab, but you have this plastic bag full of water, you have tubes full of water. To a large degree, I see my job as just helping people understand how we know anything about the ocean. It is so vast. It is sort of, we are so small. We can only do things, really in front of our eyes for the most part. We can put instruments down there, but even that requires us to be there. So I think it's just an appreciation for this vast thing that even with satellites, even with robots, we can see more than we used to, but a lot of it's still just about human beings putting themselves at risk, diving, getting this training, having the skills to go there.